Brett, the big news this week, Kieran Foran following Daly Cherry Evans out the door of Manly.
Yeah, that's right. Certainly bad news for Manly fan. And I think bad news for the rugby league in general to lose two of the best halves combination that Manly have produced, both going to different clubs. There's obviously a lot of talk about, is it management at fault? Is it the fact the salary cap hurts a lot of sides? And is it the fact that they just tried to probably think, oh, hopefully we'll keep two of them instead of just picking one of them? It's been a tough situation for the club.
What happened last year? It sounded like Daly Cherry Evans was all set to re-sign about November and then fell apart.
Yeah, well, again, that's old management, new management, and a lot of rumours that you're hearing. So obviously they had the dramas last year with letting go of Glenn Stewart because they knew they had to upgrade these two halves. Anthony Watmo left at the end of the year because him and Daly, rumoured was they didn't get on overly well. So they've created some money. If they sat down with Daly in the last year and had him all but over the line, they should have kept going that way. Old management, new management should have just went, we need to keep one of these halves. Obviously then you're trying to play off each other and see who's going to be committed. In the current climate, you cannot pay two halves over $1 million each. So what I think Manly have done, they've got themselves caught a little bit by trying to sort of say, well, we'll give you both a half okay deal and just see who wants to stay. They just had to chase one half, whether that was 18 months ago or whether that was now, because no way can you keep two guys on over $1 million. One of them was always going to have to leave because of salary cap pressure. I just was unsure who they wanted to keep and what way they're going to go. And in the end now, they've lost both. They are going to rebuild. Whether you like it or not, Manly fans, you have to rebuild. You have to buy and replace 4 or 5 of the players you've lost over the last 2 years. You've got some budget, which is great. There is players out there in the competition. Suddenly now, contracts don't mean too much. You can get people out of contracts. You can buy players coming through the ranks at other clubs. So you've got to rebuild very quick. If you buy bad now, Manly, you're going to struggle for the next 3 or 4 years. Because remember, this cycle's going to keep going and going, and then other people are going to leave. Well, Jamie Lyon will then retire, Steve Maddow will retire, Brett Stewart will retire. So the next 2 or 3 years for Manly, and who they pick now is really critical to what happens in the future, because this could be a 5 or 6 year cycle if they get this transition wrong.
Bit of talk about Sam Burgess, unhappy over there in rugby in Bath. Could you see him coming back to Manly, and would that be a good fit?
I think a player like that at Manly would be great, yeah. You know, obviously they need to strengthen their forwards up. I think Sam Burgess gives them sort of a marquee player to have fans want to go and support Manly. Because I think you've got to think merchandise and fan base are all about how well you play and what players are in your football side. Unfortunately, that's just what it's about. I don't like the NRL having this rule where they're going to jump in and allow some players to come in, who they're going to pay marquee allowance for, who they're not going to pay it for. I think that's an error our game will go down if we go that way. I just think you can't pick and choose what player's going to go. The wealthier clubs are still going to win that battle anyway. Unless Dave Smith says to Sam Burgess he's coming back, okay, who come last year? Similar to how the AFL do it with the draft pick going to the number 16 team. Well, that helps them then get better. That regroups the competition and allows them to strengthen. But I don't see that happening. The player managers will jump on down, the players will jump on down. So I don't think that the marquee allowance should come back in, but I do believe that we should look at the salary cap somewhere going forward.
Jeff Tuvey looked like the weight of the world had been lifted off his shoulders following that win over Melbourne on the weekend. Is he the right man to drive Manly through to what looks like probably an unlikely top 4 finish, but certainly a top 8 finish?
Well, I don't know if they're going to make the 8. I thought they might have struggled a bit this year. You obviously knew that the halves were coming off contract, and how it was going to pan out is going to certainly upset the football team. They're both great players and they're both great individuals, so they'll play to their best of their ability. But I just think it's got to be a distraction. They've got to now start to think about where am I going next year instead of worrying about now, who am I buying, who am I chasing. I just think little things can get in the way of a nice, smooth sailing football side. Jeff Tuvey did have the weight of the world lifted off his shoulders. It's like that us against them mentality. The two halves obviously have got that same weight lifted off their shoulders. So now it's all about just playing football and how well can they play football. We'll see how they go this year.
There it is, Brett Kimmorley tipping a tough 2015 for Manly.